fake news. You are fake news.
Hi, faithful fakers. It's your host Alexa here, and welcome back. In this lecture, we are going to break everything down, answer your questions, and potentially raise a few more. First, we have a question from KCM in Connecticut. Casey asked, "Can you explain more about your focus on inclusion and exclusion?" Well, Casey, I sure can. Our mission as a group is to address the question of inclusion and exclusion. Are we obligated to find a resolution to the existence of inclusion and exclusion in our world? We don't think so. Inclusion and exclusion are tricky. We tend to weave in and out of the in-groups and out-groups thanks to the mechanisms of transnationalism. Okay, I know I'm throwing out a bunch of big terms that probably don't mean a ton to you at all. But the transnational, put simply, is that which goes beyond national borders. We see evidence of this in people like Jane Rhee, who we met in Lecture 2, a half-Korean, half-white American woman who may find it hard to exist in just one space, or within the confines of the borders of just one country. At the risk of sounding like your kindergarten teacher, our differences ought to be celebrated. How do we even begin to resolve inclusion and exclusion? Unless we become a classless, raceless, genderless, heightless, weightless, asexual society, we are going to have differences. There are too many roadblocks to ending in an exclusion. Inclusion creates a community and cannot exist without exclusion. Exclusion is the unfortunate consequence of inclusion. As social creatures, humans crave a sense of belonging through inclusion and can achieve this through microcosms. So, what does this all have to do with microcosms? Well, we would like to think that microcosms of culture spring from transnationalism. These microcosms can be religious, racial, or sexual. Microcosms are where the exchange of culture happens, where identities, agency, and power dynamics are challenged. We try to address microcosms in each lecture, from the effects of Asian American microcosms on mental health, to the exclusion of queer people from such microcosms, to Asian American religious microcosms, to white microcosms in Asian countries. Okay, now for another question from Morgan A. in Oregon. Morgan asked, "How do cultural clashes influence identity and agency?" Well, Morgan, that's an interesting question. Typically, when cultures clash, races clash. Skin color has always been heavily tied to identity. Unfortunately, through slavery, indentured servitude, and displacement, race has been tied to agency. Often, agency is stripped from people because of the race, forcing people into horrific situations. A final question from Claire B. in Pennsylvania. Why do you guys call yourselves fake news?
You are fake news.
Well, the name started as a joke. The initials of each of our first names are F, A, I, C, and K, and the name ended up sticking. That's all we have for you today. I'm Alexa, and this is Fake News.